guys, I wanted to do a quick training on Insights because I've been getting a lot of questions about Insights, how to read it, how to make sure that your data in Insights is accurate. So I wanted to make a quick recording about that. So we're going to dive into that today. If you don't know me, my name is Michaela Freeman. I am the Vice President of Executive Partners. Among other things, we help our clients with optimizing and enhancing their JobNimbus platform, making sure that it is set up and working well for their team and that their team is trained to use it. And we also help companies all over the country build out a new JobNimbus system and migrate from another CRM. So that is my area of expertise. So we're going to jump into Insights here and go over how to read it. So I am set up here with a test account essentially for JobNimbus. So you should be able to see my screen. Here is my test account. So I've put some data in here over the last few weeks so that we can take a look at Insights without revealing anybody's data. So this is the Executive Partners test account. So you're not looking at anybody's real data. So if we hop into our Insights tab here, we're going to see first our overview page. So when we're reading the overview page, there's a few things here that you'll see right away is that these vertical columns are organized by time frame. So you should make sure that you don't have any filters on this first page, particularly filters for time frame, because these are going to sort themselves into those specific time frames. So this first column is going to be last week. Those dates are Sunday through Saturday is what last week is pulling for JobNimbus. So Sunday through Saturday is what it's going to show in last week's data. This month, this quarter, and this year. Of course, right now, the quarter and the year are the same. We'll see that adjust through the rest of the year. But then we've got our rows here, so our leads, showing our leads for last week, this month, this quarter, this year, sold dollars for those same time frames, close rate, which is going to be anything that moves from a lead stage to a sold stage during that time frame. So we're going to look at what that means here in just a moment. And then the estimating conversion is anything that has moved from an estimating stage to a sold stage in that time frame. Okay, again, we're going to look at those stages here in just a few minutes. So if we pop back into the sold section, if I were to hover over this little I, click that I there, it says sold numbers on the business overview dashboard are based on sold jobs and the total of their related estimates in the approved or invoice status. So what this means is if you come into overview and you're like, hey, last week I definitely sold 90,000, right? Let's say as an example, and this only says 84,250. If that's the case, there are two reasons that dollar amount, that extra 6 grand, 5.8, is not showing here in your sold dollars. It is either because the job is not in a sold stage or did not hit a sold stage, or because you do not have an estimate in that job that is either approved or invoiced. The estimate has to be changed to approved. Now, if you are using the estimating system within JobNimbus, the new sales experience, and you are getting those digital signatures, the system is going to automatically convert that signed estimate to approved. So the system will take care of that for you if you are using the new sales experience. If you have your Sumo quote synced with the line item sync, it will also do that for you with the Sumo quote sync. If you are not using either of those two options for your estimating, if you're using any other estimating system or platform, then you will need to manually change your estimates in JobNimbus to approved so that they will show here in this row for sold dollars. Okay. Now, I've said a few times, we're going to dig into each of these a little bit more, but I've said a few times the sold stage, the lead stage, the estimating stage. So let's talk a little bit about stages, because when you build out your workflows, or if you came into a system that the workflows were already built out for you, you know that you're looking at statuses of the workflow, right? So you're looking at lead, appointment scheduled, follow-up, etc. So I'm going to jump over into this other tab here. You should be able to see my other tab. Let me check. Great. Okay, so I'm in settings. So I just went into the settings section of my system. And under workflows and fields, I'm going to take a look at the job workflows. Okay, so if I were to look at my insurance workflow, Okay, let's go in here. So we can see I have my status names and I have my stages. Now, when I'm setting these up, or if I come into a system where this is already set up for me, um, I would have selected, or the system would have selected, which stage this status is in. So there are a few options here. We have none, which is not going to talk to Insights at all. If it is in a none stage, any data from that status is not going to show up anywhere in Insights. Lost, lead, estimating, sold, in production, accounts receivable, and completed. Okay. The reason that we have these stages is because the statuses are completely customizable. If these statuses are presets and they don't match your actual process, workflow, of course, is just another word for process. What is the process that this job, an insurance job, is going to go through in my company? So if I have made these custom, the system doesn't know the difference between inspection scheduled and file claim. These are just statuses. The way that the system knows to read these is based on the stage that it's in. So the system sees that everything from assigned lead to file claim is in a lead status, which, if you are looking at your workflow, all of these statuses that are in lead should be statuses that you have not built an estimate for your customer. Right? That's typically how we would build this out, is that the lead stages are ones that you would not have already built an estimate. Then the estimating stage, all the statuses in the estimating stage, are the ones that are not sold, they're not lost, but you've already built an estimate, right? So we have everything from at risk, which is custom to some of my workflows, but adjuster meetings scheduled, all the way down to, oh, see, we have an issue here. This should actually be in sold. So if you were to look in here and say, hey, this signed submission prep, that is a sold job. So I'm going to change this to sold. Okay. So it's going to move that, which is fine. I can update that. So, oh, now it's going to get mad at me. All right, that's fine. I can fix this in a bit. So I'm just going to make that sold. I'll rearrange that later. Okay. So when I say, flip over to my other screen here, when I say that we're looking at all of the leads that came in last week, that means all of the jobs that went into a lead stage. So for this reason, if you were to have a job that you replaced the roof last summer, right? And then you were to have them call back for a leak or a warranty repair, if you were to use that same job and pull it back into inspection scheduled out of completed and closed, it's going to show that in your lead count because the job just landed again in your lead statuses. So it is going to show the new jobs that you put into the system, assuming that they go into one of these lead statuses, which is the most common option. It's the most typical one. Normally, they're not jumping straight to adjuster meeting scheduled, etc. But if they do, if they never hit a lead stage, then it is not going to show up in your lead column, right? So that is what we're seeing in this leads section, is all the jobs that went into a lead stage. So in my example of having pulled a job back from completed and closed because there's a warranty call, that is bad practice in JobNimbus. You should create a new job for that repair or warranty claim so that all of your data is correct. And then you can, in the contact file, see both the original replacement and the repair or warranty job in their contact file. Moving on to the sold dollars. So as I mentioned, approved estimate, and it's got to hit a sold stage. So if we jump back over to our workflow here, we have 3 statuses here in the sold stage. We have missing info, production pending, and signed submission prep, which I'll reorder those again later. So if my job were to be in pending contract signed, let's say I'm a sales manager, right? I'm not a regular sales rep. I'm a sales manager. And so I get my contract signed. I don't need to get it approved. I'm the one that approves it. So I hypothetically move my job straight from pending contract signed to order materials. I send it on to production, right? If I do that, I have skipped all of the sold stages. And so therefore, my job dollar amount will not appear in this sold section. Okay, so again, if we're looking at, if these numbers don't match what you believe you've sold in that time frame, there are one of 2 options. You don't have an approved estimate, approved or invoiced. It would convert itself to invoiced when you convert that estimate to an invoice. So approved or invoiced estimate, or it has not hit a sold stage. So you'll need to review your workflow and the stages that you have those set up to make sure that you have that reporting the way you want to for those statuses of your workflow. Okay. Then we have close rate. These would be jobs that move from a lead stage to a sold stage in that time frame. Okay, so I can click on my little eye here for any of these. Close rates show the percentage of leads collected in a given time frame that move to the sold stage. So it would have entered the lead stage and moved to a sold stage in that time frame. Okay, so again, if we hop over here, it would need to enter a lead stage and then in that time frame move to a sold stage. So this is going to show the percentage of leads, of jobs that go into a lead stage last week. So if I've got 10 jobs that go into the lead stage, how many of those that went into lead last week moved to sold in that same week? And it's going to do that for month, quarter, and year as well. Okay. Same for estimating conversion. This is going to be jobs that move from an estimating stage to a sold stage. So jumping back into our workflow, all of my estimating stages, it would need to go into an estimating stage during that time frame and then be moved to a sold stage during that same time frame. So that's what we're looking at here. Now, in my example where I said, hey, I actually sold 90,000 last week. So where's my extra, $6,000 almost? I would not, if I'm trying to problem solve that, I would not continue to work in this overview board. If I want to look into the details of any of these sections, I'm going to go to my little hamburger menu over here. And all of the breakdowns for these 4 sections are going to be in your sales tab here. So I'm going to go over to my sales tab. So if I want to look at leads, the leads column, which is the top column, or the close rate, that is going to be in this first tab. This is going to be the breakdown of your leads and close rate. Again, this is a test account, so it's just me here bopping around. So our lead close rate, if I want to see any of the data for my leads, which leads came in, what leads is it accounting for, you have, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the tab, you have the raw data table. You can also click any of these columns and drill down to the next level to see the jobs that it is accounting for in that lead mix there. So then estimating conversion, this again is the jobs that move from the estimating status to the estimating stage to the close stage. So if I wanted to see in my overview what is accounting for these numbers, these percentages, I would go to that estimating section. And last but not least, for the sold dollars, if I wanted to figure out where is that missing $6,000, I would go to the sales tab here of the sales section. This is essentially your leaderboard. Again, it's just me. But if I wanted to figure out, okay, I've got, so this is showing the entire year. So again, if I wanted to see just that last week time frame, I would change the sold date. But if I wanted to figure out, hey, I actually sold this year, my records show I sold 120,000, then I could drill down to the next level and I could see all of the jobs that it's accounting for in my sold dollars. Let's see here. Okay, so I want to see some more information in here. So I'm going to add job type. Perfect. I want to add name and number. And I probably want to add sales rep and sold amount. Great. Okay, so now I've got a bit more data in here to work with. So I can see my job type, the zip code, the name of the job number, the sales rep, and the sold dollar. So these are all of the jobs that are accounting for that 100,000 that Insights is saying that I sold this year. If I want to go back to my leaderboard, I can simply click the sales leaderboard button that's underlined here, and it'll take me back to my leaderboard. If you have less than, 3 sales reps, couple sales reps, or if you're not, if you've only got a small number of jobs, here again, I need to add my info here. Let me add at least name and number and sold dollar. Okay. And sold date, that would be good. All right. So got a little more data in here. Actually, let me add sales rep. Okay. So now I can see it's my name for all of these, but if you had multiple reps, or if you had, let's say you have a team of 3 sales reps, you'd have your 3 sales reps and all of the jobs that they sold in this time frame here. Okay. So this would be your breakdown of all of the raw data that is pulling for these numbers. Now, if I change this date, I could change my sold date here, and I could say, hey, I want to see the entire year. So, or actually, this is filtering data. Let's say I wanted to see February. So let's do February 1st through the 28th. Apply. All right, so that's my 84,000 there. So I could scroll back down and I have the jobs that are totaling for that 84,000. So you can see that all the way down at the bottom. If you're working with more than like 2 or 3 sales reps, it is a lot easier to figure out where are my missing dollars by first looking at the dollar amount by rep, and then using that drill down to the next level button to figure out which jobs are missing. And again, it keeps forgetting my saved presets here. Name. And this is only because I'm working in a test account. Number, sales rep. Okay, total amount. All right. These will be in here if you're not working in a test account. It's just because I'm in that test account. But you can always add columns if you want to see more information in this report. You can add more information here to the sales data table here. So if, like I said, if you have more than a few sales reps, it is going to be easier to use that drill down option to figure out which jobs are missing, or if you have multiple, if you're looking at this report and you only sold 80,000 and it says 84,000, you're looking at the inverse. You might have 2 Jane testers in here showing $10,000 and $9,000. If you have 2 estimates in here and they were both for some reason marked as approved, that would be duplicating those numbers. So in your job, you want to make sure you only have, typically it is 1 approved estimate, unless maybe you have a change order that was signed separately. But most often you would have 1 approved estimate. If you have multiple approved estimates, they are going to add together for your sold dollars. So if both of those numbers that are in the approved estimates combined together is the total collectible amount, the total sold amount for that job, great, you're in the clear. If those 2 numbers together is incorrect, you need to change the status of that estimate back to draft, and it will pull that out of Insights. Now, if you were to find that Jane Tester, let's say we were missing a job here, I've got, Steven Tester is missing. Michaela sold Steven Tester last month. So I go into his job, I'm like, oh, okay, it's because the estimate wasn't approved. I changed the status to approved. Great. I come back to Insights and Steven Tester is still not here. That is okay. That is because Insights only refreshes every few hours or so. There is not a force refresh on Insights, but you can come up to these 3 dots in the corner and you can see the last sync time. So the last time that it pulled data out of my system to update these records was 10:33 this morning Eastern. So if you are trying to correct or update your data in Insights, make sure that you check that synced time. It is not going to update. If I go and approve an estimate or put an estimate back to draft to try and add it in or take it out of my sold data here, I need to wait for the next time that the system syncs Insights with my system data. Okay. So this has been just a brief overview of Insights. I know there are a lot of nitty-gritty questions that we can get into here, but I just wanted to go over some of that high level, how to read Insights and how to make sure that your data is correct. If you have any specific questions, feel free to leave a comment or reach out to me directly. I'm happy to assist, but happy insighting.